Do you have a notebook somewhere, maybe on your phone, full of ideas you never started? A business you keep planning? A book you keep outlining? A version of your life you keep imagining, but somehow never begin? You know exactly what you want. You can picture it clearly, sometimes down to the tiniest detail. And yet months pass, years pass, and the picture in your head never becomes the life in front of you. If that just hit a little too close to home, take a breath, because this isn't a video about laziness. It's not a video about discipline either. This is about something much deeper happening in your mind, something that has nothing to do with how badly you want it, and everything to do with how your brain is wired to protect you. Today, we're breaking down the real psychology of people who dream but don't act, and by the end of this, you might finally understand why. Here's something people don't talk about enough. Dreaming is easy. Dreaming feels good. When you imagine your future success, your brain actually releases some of the same feel-good chemicals as if you were already living it. That's not a coincidence, and it's not weakness either. It's actually your brain being incredibly efficient, maybe a little too efficient. The gap between dreaming and doing isn't about motivation. It's about fear, identity, and a handful of quiet mental habits that convince you that staying still is somehow safer than moving forward. Let's break down exactly what's going on in your mind. 1. The comfort of the idea stage. Psychologist Gabrielle Eddingen studied something surprising. She found that positively fantasizing about your future goals can actually make you less likely to achieve them. When you vividly imagine already succeeding, your brain gets a small hit of satisfaction right then and there, almost like you already did it. This is why planning can feel so good, sometimes better than doing. Making the vision board, researching the course, imagining the version of you who finally did the thing, all of that feels like progress. But your brain doesn't always know the difference between imagined progress and real progress. So it quietly rewards you for dreaming, and the actual first step keeps getting pushed to someday. Think about how many times you felt proud just for thinking about starting something. That pride is real, but it can trick you into feeling like you've already done the hard part, when really, the hard part hasn't started yet. 2. The fear that's wearing a disguise. A lot of people assume they're scared of failing. But often, what's really going on is something people rarely admit, even to themselves: fear of succeeding, and then having to keep succeeding. If you never start the business, you never have to face whether you're actually capable of running one. If you never send the manuscript, no one can reject the story that means so much to you. Staying in the idea stage protects you from a very specific kind of pain, the pain of trying your best and finding out it wasn't enough. This shows up as, "I'm still preparing," or "I just need a little more research first," on repeat for years. It's not procrastination in the lazy sense. It's your mind trying to protect your self-worth by never putting it on the line. 3. When your identity hasn't caught up yet. Psychologically, people don't just act based on what they want. They act based on who they believe they are. If deep down you still think of yourself as someone who's not good with money, you will unconsciously avoid actions that don't match that identity, even if you desperately want to build wealth. This is why some people can read every productivity book in the world and still not change. The information isn't the problem. The identity is. Your brain works hard to keep your actions consistent with your self-image because inconsistency feels uncomfortable, almost unsafe. You might notice this in yourself when you think, "That's just not who I am," about something you actually want to become. That sentence sounds like self-awareness, but sometimes it's really just an old identity holding the door shut. 4. The trap of waiting to feel ready. So many people wait for a feeling before they act. They think, "Once I feel confident, I'll start." But confidence usually doesn't come before action, it comes after it. This is called emotional reasoning, when you treat your feelings as facts, believing that because you don't feel ready, you must not actually be ready. The truth most people don't want to hear is that almost nobody feels ready. Not the person who finally opened the shop, not the person who finally hit publish, not the person who finally applied. They felt scared and did it anyway, and the readiness showed up afterward, built from the doing, not before it. If you've ever said, "I just need more confidence first," you're not wrong to want that feeling. You're just waiting for something that was never going to arrive before the action does. 5. The quiet comfort of staying the same. Human brains are wired to prefer things staying the same, even when the current situation isn't making you happy. This is called status quo bias. Change, even good change, requires energy, risk, and uncertainty, and your brain treats uncertainty almost like danger. This explains why someone can be unhappy in a job for years and still not update their resume. Not because they don't want something better, but because the known unhappiness feels strangely safer than the unknown possibility of something new. At least you know exactly what today looks like. If you've ever stayed in a situation longer than you should have, not because you didn't see a way out, but because staying felt easier than the uncertainty of leaving, that wasn't weakness. That was your brain doing exactly what it's built to do: protect you from the unknown, even at a cost. 6. Dreaming as a form of self-soothing. Sometimes dreaming isn't about planning a future at all. It's a coping tool. When life feels overwhelming or stuck, imagining a better version of things gives your mind a break, a small escape from a present moment that feels hard to sit with. This is why people often dream the most during the hardest chapters of their life. It's not avoidance out of laziness. It's your mind reaching for relief the only way it knows how, by picturing something better, even if it stays a picture for a while. There's nothing wrong with you if this is you. It actually shows how much you're hoping for more, how much you still believe things can be different. That hope is worth protecting, even while we work on turning it into motion. If you've recognized yourself somewhere in this video, please hear this clearly. Dreaming without acting doesn't mean you're lazy, undisciplined, or not serious about your life. It means your brain has been doing exactly what brains are designed to do: protect you from failure, from vulnerability, from the discomfort of becoming someone new. The gap between who you are and who you want to be isn't a character flaw. It's a very human, very understandable pattern, and understanding it is actually the first real step out of it. You don't need to fix your entire personality overnight. You just need one small action that doesn't match your old story, one small proof that the new version of you is possible. You're not behind. You're not broken. You're just standing at the edge of something, and that's a completely normal place to be. If this helped you understand yourself a little better today, hit the subscribe button, because we break down the psychology behind human behavior, the patterns we don't always notice in ourselves. See you in the next one.